2024, Avrupa'ya seyahat etmek isteyen milyonlarca Afrikalı için yine zorlu bir yıl oldu. Londra merkezli araştırma kuruluşu Lego Kolektif'in yayınladığı güncel verilere göre Afrika'dan yapılan Schengen vize başvurularının 1/3'ünden fazlası reddedildi. Bu, yaklaşık 2,9 milyon başvurunun 950 binden fazlasının kabul edilmediği anlamına geliyor. Kıtada ortalama her 100 başvurudan 32,7'si reddediliyor. Bir başvurunun yaklaşık 90 dolar olduğunu düşünürsek, Afrika kıtasında yalnızca bir yılda reddedilen Schengen vizelerine 67,5 milyon dolar harcanıyor. Bu rakam Afrika kıtasında yaklaşık 264 bin kişiyi bir yıl boyunca doyurmaya yetiyor. Listenin en üst sıralarında %46,8 red oranı ile Senegal ve Mali bulunuyor. Nijerya %45,9 ile hemen arkalarında yer alıyor. Gana, Sudan, Fildişi sahili, Gine ve Burkina Faso gibi ülkeler de benzer oranlarla listenin üst sıralarında. Afrikalıların Schengen alanına ulaşması her geçen yıl daha da zorlaşıyor. Uzmanlar bu durumu küresel hareketlilikteki eşitsizliğin bariz bir göstergesi olarak değerlendiriyor.
But I think the challenge is that if you want to bring people together to solve problems, they need to be able to travel. Applicants from African countries are the most likely to be rejected, but they have to pay fees when they apply, and those fees are not refunded whenever they are rejected. There are also additional costs when it comes to the time it takes for visas to come through, the issues related to travel bookings, hotel bookings that then have to be cancelled and often aren't refundable. And a lot of people that we speak to feel that this is an issue of dignity, that they should be respected, and the kind of process should be more respectful. Because there are lots of examples of where you have like very skilled, people, artists, high-level artists, musicians, that are coming to play gigs at sellout stadiums, but then get a visa rejected and they can't do their jobs because of a lot of the way that perceptions of Europe are shifting. We're seeing in the survey data, a lot of African countries are looking east because they see the impact of what China and other countries are doing in terms of investment in infrastructure, and they're taking a less positive view of Europe and North America. And the whole concept was that in Europe, the perception of Africa is that it's in need of help, that it is an aid program, that Europeans are rich and need to transfer money. And the argument was actually for everything that Europe wants to achieve, competitiveness, demographic challenges with an aging population, the climate crisis, for all of those things, you need cooperation with Africa to solve them. African Union ambassador, and he talked about his personal experience of going through the visa system, the bureaucracy, the rejections, and the kind of the emotional impact that has on how you feel about the place that you're applying to. And that experience, I think, is multiplied a million times every year, millions of times. And as a result, there are millions of people that have this kind of feeling of disrespect and feeling of a lack of dignity when they're trying to travel to Europe. The costs of visas, simply, whenever the cost is, whenever the visa is applied for and there's a rejection, that at least some of the money should be returned because the visa wasn't granted. That doesn't get into the politics of migration in Europe. It's simply a practical thing that could address some of the lack of respect that people feel when they're applying. But I think the question that we need to ask is, taking this to a kind of systemic level, what are the overall impacts on Europe's perception overseas, on its relationships, on its soft power, and take that into account whenever addressing and kind of designing these systems and identifying the criteria that officials use to make decisions. Because if we aren't doing that, then these decisions are made in a sense in isolation, and these negative spillover effects for Europe and for African citizens are playing out in a very real way when it comes to the way that Europe is perceived globally.